Or how do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
I haven't seen Gervonta Davis in another sexual assault allegation, lawsuits incoming, potentially criminal charges levied. We don't know yet, but we know that fight is up in the air, and I think that fight's not going to happen, and they're going to either have to move the fight back or they're going to have to look to a replacement or both. I don't know.
This fight is still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement.
Floyd Mayweather has once again shaken up the boxing world, this time by calling out Jake Paul following the cancellation of Gervonta "Tank" Davis's fight. With Tank sidelined by ongoing legal troubles, Mayweather made it clear that he's ready to step in himself, and unlike his recent exhibitions, he says this would be a real fight. Floyd emphasized that he wouldn't demand special rules or weight adjustments, hinting that if it happens, it'll be under full professional conditions. The surprise call-out has sent shockwaves through the boxing community, with fans buzzing about whether the legend is truly preparing for one last legitimate return to the ring.
But at the time, people badly wanted you and Jake Paul to fight. Is he someone you're interested in, or no?
Well, you know, if you go back, you got to do your homework, look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's.
Due to the active lawsuit and ongoing investigation, Davis's highly publicized exhibition bout with Jake Paul has been officially canceled. His promoter, Most Valuable Promotions, released a statement confirming the decision, stating that under the current circumstances, the event could not responsibly move forward.
Know the situation. He was supposed to be boxing Gervonta "Tank" Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I've given my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight. It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th.
Court records show Davis is facing a civil lawsuit filed by his former girlfriend, Courtney Rosal, over an alleged incident on October 27th at a Miami nightclub where she works. The complaint accuses Davis of multiple offenses, including battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Rosal claims Davis assaulted and dragged her through several parts of the club, including a stairwell, the kitchen, and the parking garage. Law enforcement in Miami Gardens has confirmed an active criminal investigation alongside the civil proceedings.
Boxing champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend. This is according to our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Courtney Russell says she dated Davis for 5 months and recently filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and other offenses. She claims Davis physically attacked her a number of times during their relationship. Russell claims the most recent incident was Monday at a Miami nightclub. Davis is scheduled to fight Jake Paul in Miami on.
Chael Sonnen recently commented on the confusion surrounding the possible cancellation, revealing he personally reached out to both camps to confirm what was happening. According to Sonnen, neither Jake Paul's nor Tank Davis's representatives gave him a straight answer, which only deepens speculation. Sonnen suggested that when both camps stay quiet, it's often a sign that something serious is unfolding behind the scenes, possibly involving deeper legal and promotional issues beyond simple scheduling problems.
Tank has one job to do. which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I have an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things. Now, I go back far enough in MMA that I've had my eyes open a number of times. The fact that karate was so incredibly useless, or the fact that Jeet Kune Do was so incredibly useless, like these were not things that I would have bet on when I was in high school. As a wrestler at that time, I would not have assumed that I would fare well in a fight against somebody that knew Kung Fu. We had all been falsely led through Hollywood. Not through competition, not through sport, not through understanding of the game, but just through Hollywood. We were told that those guys were the most dangerous guys. So, we then eventually get up to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, which had a weight discrepancy, but it was very small. I mean, I watched him weigh in. I want to say it was like 8.
With Davis's fight in jeopardy, Mayweather has now called out Jake Paul directly. Never one to mince words, Floyd has been blunt about Jake's abilities. He acknowledges Paul's impact on crossover boxing and his entertainment value, but stops short of calling him a real boxer. Mayweather has even said a fight with Jake would be too easy, suggesting Paul wouldn't pose a real threat to someone of his caliber. He believes Jake's success comes from clever marketing, not elite-level skill, and that a fight under real rules would expose the gap between influencer boxing and true championship-level competition.
There were many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever, period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents? Or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Does he have the ability, with what you've seen, to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's where his mindset's at.
Mayweather's critics have often accused him of avoiding rematches, leaving unanswered questions about his dominance. Meanwhile, Jake Paul has built his record against smaller, older, or less experienced opponents. Floyd has repeatedly cautioned that once Jake steps in with a true professional, the difference in class will be impossible to hide, even if Paul continues to be an entertaining draw for casual fans.
Second question is just with like Logan Paul and then Jake Paul now fighting Mike soon in the summer. What do you think defines a real boxer? Because I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
What he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
Some fighters and analysts have praised Mayweather not just for his technical brilliance, but for his mindset. Former Olympian Tony Jeffries, for example, has highlighted how Floyd's unshakable self-belief and mental control allowed him to win fights before they even began. They argue that his psychological edge, not just his defense, is what made him one of the greatest ever.
They're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now. where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of shit. And
new reports suggest Mayweather may even be exploring a possible bout with Mike Tyson. Analysts believe this move is about more than money, it's about legacy and attention. With the spotlight on Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, Floyd appears unwilling to be overshadowed, even by his former protege. Observers say this is classic Mayweather, a man driven by competition, attention, and the need to stay on top of the sports narrative. His rumored Tyson pursuit underscores the ongoing struggle among boxing icons to stay relevant in an era dominated by viral spectacle and social media influence.
So many celebrities and so many people that are known where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about whether...
Meanwhile, Jake Paul's promotional team is reportedly reaching out to several big names as potential replacements for Davis. Among the names being floated is none other than Terrence Crawford. Though nothing is confirmed, the mere mention of Crawford, widely regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters alive, has raised massive interest. If Paul were to face Crawford, it would mark a dramatic shift from exhibition-style fights to a legitimate elite-level showdown. Sources indicate that discussions are still early, but the buzz alone has fans wondering whether Jake's team is now targeting a more serious and high-stakes matchup.
Still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement: Ryan Garcia, Terrence Crawford, Francis Ngannou, I mean, come on, we'll get into them, and Nate Diaz. So he's already fought Nate Diaz, but let's go through them one by one. I mean, Ryan Garcia, he's a similar size to Gervonta Davis. He's bigger though. Davis made him come down, didn't he? Then he beat him up. So that was Ryan Garcia. Quite a bad loss for Garcia, that was, because he was up for the fight. But Gervonta Davis beat Garcia. Garcia also isn't really big enough to be jumping in with Jake Paul. but that's a fight that potentially could happen. Garcia is a massive name. He's a big he's a social media star. He's a big public figure. Loads of followers on Instagram and social. I mean, his Instagram's over 1 million, I'm sure it is. He's just a big name, good-looking kid, great fighter, fast hands, and he's quite controversial as well. So that'd be a good fight, but the weight disparity, again, it's too big. So for me, when I say it'd be a good fight, it'd be interesting to see how Ryan Garcia would go in against Jake Paul. But to be honest, Jake Paul's far too big for him. Who else we got? Terence Crawford. I can't see Terence Crawford entertained in this, but then you never know, do you? If the old bunts make sense, then it makes people do strange things. And Terence Crawford's getting on now. What is he, 37, 38 years old? Had that great win against Canelo. Would he jump in with Jake Paul for mega money? Probably. He'd paced him as well. I mean, Terence Crawford would be too much for Jake Paul, even though he's up at 168 in his last fight, super middleweight, my old weight division. So I don't think Jake Paul would fight him. Francis Ngannou, I mean, why even chuck Ngannou in the mix? Ngannou would just hammer him. He's too big. I mean, he talked about Anthony Joshua. That never happened, did it? It's a load of bollocks. He talked about fighting AJ, then announced he's fighting someone the size of one of AJ's legs in Gervonta Davis. So for me, that's nothing. And the Nate Diaz fight, he's already fought him. It was a rubbish fight, and he's...
Not everyone was a fan of the original Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup. Carl Froch criticized the fight heavily, calling it rubbish and questioning its competitive value. Froch said Paul doesn't belong in the same ring as a world-class fighter like Davis and dismissed the whole idea as a circus act rather than a legitimate contest. For Froch and other purists, it wasn't about who would win, it was about whether the fight even deserved to be taken seriously.
Absolute clown world. Really fitting for fake Paul, the clown, because it's a clown show. You're putting him in with somebody who's 100 pounds lighter. I mentioned the weight disparity before. Getting on for 7 stone. It's a weight-governed sport. It should not be happening. He's too small, Gervonta Davis, against the big Jake Paul, who's in the gym a lot, training. Apparently he's fit and strong and he has a go and he can fight a little bit, which I disagree with because I don't think he can. He might be able to fight a little bit. He certainly can't box. But these allegations against Gervonta Davis, they're very serious allegations. Anybody that's laying hands on women needs to be shut down straight away. For me, they need to be locked up in the key.
Amir Khan also condemned the fight, calling it a really bad mismatch. He argued that letting Davis face someone Jake's size, with Paul reportedly walking around at over 200 pounds, was unfair and even dangerous. Khan said it seemed like Davis was chasing a big payday rather than a challenge, and he slammed promoters for putting money ahead of fighter safety.
Jake Paul, he gets on my nerves a little bit. I think the way he conducts himself, the way he acts, and I think he's just full of himself as well. And he thinks he can fight. And he's only been boxing for what, like a year. But he's been very lucky though. He has he's had some good wins against like MMA fighters. He's a little bit heavier than me, but I don't mind putting the pounds on just.
Some fans have questioned whether the cancellation was necessary at all. They point out that other athletes have competed while facing legal cases, arguing that Tank's issues shouldn't automatically disqualify him from fighting. Critics suggest the move was driven by public image and corporate reputation, not concern for the athletes. Others, however, believe canceling was the right call given the seriousness of the allegations, saying continuing the event could have caused major backlash across the sport.
So, did Gervonta Davis's cancellation of his fight with Jake Paul, was it the right decision from Jake Paul, his team, and Netflix? Did they make the right move to cancel the Gervonta Davis fight? I want to know y'all thoughts in the comment section. We'll probably do a longer video on this later, but I want y'all to interact and let me know y'all thoughts. Now that we know the fight is canceled, they announced it late yesterday while we were in the middle of our live stream. What is your thoughts? Do you think the fight should have been canceled? Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you.
What do you think? Should Floyd Mayweather step in to fight Jake Paul now, or should promoters wait until Gervonta Davis clears his legal situation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.